Honourable members, if we can all start making our way to our seats, please. I know there are still some members outside, so we'll give it a minute and then we're going to be underway.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final day of Local Government Week 2025. I am grateful to all of you for being here on time, and also we'd like to appreciate your participation in the week so far. I think it has been an interesting eye-opener for many members, and there's been some constructive engagements, the conclusion of which will happen today. Honourable members, we do have a tight program. The program was circulated at the end of last week and again early this week for everyone to take note. We will start off, and I just want to take us through so that we can manage expectations right from the start. So we will start off with a presentation summarizing the reports from each of the site visits. Now, honourable members, I want to make the point that, as is normal with Local Government Week, there will be a full report, a consolidated report that serves before this House and will no doubt be debated in the coming weeks and months. So this is not your final chance to engage with the contents of the presentation, but certainly today will be a chance to make inputs of items that perhaps have not been covered. So I urge you, please, to take note of what is being presented. It is indeed just a summary of the lengthier reports that underpin the presentations that will be delivered today. You will note that we have allocated an hour to the presentations. Since there are 4 presentations, that gives presenters 15 minutes each to deliver the presentations that summarize the activities for the week. There will then be a 1-hour session to engage with the presentations and perhaps add any comments. Now, honourable members, I do know that there were comments about we'd like longer to deliberate. That was not the first comment that was made. There was a previous comment, in fact, initiated by me when the program was first discussed, and the confirmation was made that we will have an hour for this, and then there will be a debate that happens later in the process. So we will have an hour. In order to manage that, honourable members, I'm going to ask you, we need to be fair to one another and ensure that all views are taken into account. So I'm going to ask you now to prepare yourselves. There will be a 3-minute slot to each person who wishes to engage with the presentations. So there will be a timer running, and I think, as is normal with our business, there will be 3 minutes. I note that there are more than 20 people in the House, so we may run slightly over an hour, but we do need to manage our time closely. There's also been a request specifically by groups 1 and 3 that there's a response that comes from the city. So we will then allow a maximum of 2 of the MMCs to give us a response. They will also be limited in terms of time to a maximum of 5 minutes to give their responses at the end. We will then have closing remarks and move away for lunch, where we will be able to engage without the burden of our work on our shoulders any longer. So happily with smiles on our face and shaking hands, and we will then go off on our constituency period to reconvene here after 2 weeks. Honourable members, That will be the way that the program unfolds today, and I did think it's important, in order to ensure that everyone's expectations are met, that I give the details of the program to each and every one. Honourable Modise, I did note your hand.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I had made a proposal that we should spend more than an hour discussing the reports of the 2 days visit that we had in the city of Cape Town. And in their wisdom, the Zulu people says, so I did not know when I was making this proposal that will be subjected to what we were subjected to. So I want to formally withdraw that and allow the meeting to spend an hour in discussing the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, indeed. The chairperson of the NCOP is, of course, the crafter of the program. This is her program, Local Government Week. So, yes, indeed. Unfortunately, she's not here today, but your comments are noted, and thank you very much for that. Honourable members, I therefore am going to request that we start the program immediately with the presentations. We go through in the logical order. So I think starting with Group 1. Group 1 was led by the chair of the NCOP, who is not here today, as indicated, and therefore the Honourable Kaunda, as co-leader, will be giving the presentation on her behalf. Honourable Kaunda, you have your 15 minutes. The presentation will be flighted on the screen, and thank you very much. If we can set the timer appropriately. Thank you.
Yeah, they've put 5 minutes, they must add 10, yeah, Chair?
Did you skip most of your stuff, so you can't say that?
Thank you very much, House Chair, the office bearers, led by the Deputy Chair of the NCOP, all leaders from the legislatures, the MECs, and the city. We are a dedicated group which decided to commit itself, and also greetings to the stakeholders who presented before this House. We decided, Chair, to consolidate our visit to the first day, which is the 17th, and we visited all the sites that we envisaged to visit. And we then secured yesterday to come back and consolidate the report so that when we come before you, we'll have a well-structured report. I'm hoping the team would be, it's flighting it. So the first disappointment that we had on the first day was that we were without the city. We were alone as the delegation. Even the provincial government, they sent junior staff who said they can't answer to the questions that we had on a number of projects that we visited. We visited Khayelitsha Site C, Mandela Park, Taiwan Project, Mandela Park, Mahama Park, Silverton Housing Project. So starting with the first one, Chair, we even met today at 7 a.m. to finalize the report. You can see how dedicated this team was. Chair, the Khayelitsha Site C, Mandela Park, it has got the yield of 123 units by the Western Cape Provincial Government. The project management was appointed to construct 35 units, and in phase 1, they completed those units. Then the next contractor, which was appointed, Yamabamba, to build 30 units, which was phase 2 of the project, but was delayed due to the contractor withdrawal, citing profitability and project unviability challenges. The department has resolved to reduce phase 2 from 35 to 15 units, which will definitely affect those who have been on the waiting list for quite a long period. Then, according to the presentation, Chair, the officials also indicated that to reduce phase 2 of the project from 35 units to 15 units, reissue of subsidies based on the 2018, 2019, 2022, 2023 subsidy criteria, to revise the financial project details informed by the reduction of units from 35 to 15. Then the next one, Chair, we are also indicating that the provincial and local government, our observation, were not present during the site visit, owing to the fact that the elected representatives were not present during the site visit. the councillors showed up, which was highly commended. The councillors, the ward councillors. Phase 1 completion time frame of the project needs to be dealt with. The total number of phases of the project must be clearly outlined. The costing and projected time frames of each project phase must be also outlined clearly. The budget spent from the project initiation stage till now must be accounted for. The total budget of the project is also one of those requirements. Further, on observations, members raise a concern on the management of beneficiary waiting lists because there are elderly people who have been on the beneficiary list since 2012, and we were able to interact with them so that we get their experiences on how they felt with such an action and inaction. As a result of this, some beneficiaries are believed to be homeless and are moving from one place to another. Some have gone back to the relatives in Eastern Cape because they no longer have shelter. In one instance, a beneficiary was asked to demolish the informal structure on the basis that the new structure will be built. Up until to date, the structure have not been materialized. For example, there is a 76-year-old woman who was told to demolish. Okay, that's the one. Another example is that there is a child-headed household in Sobuwe Street that were told to demolish as well, but up until now that have not been fulfilled. There is a concern that new beneficiaries are going to be allocated houses at the expense of those who have been on the waiting list for quite some time. Owing to these incidents, members raise concern that there's possible deviation from the housing policy, which prioritizes the elderly, disabled, and child-headed household. The allocated beneficiaries of the project residing in Nwango Street have not received their title deeds. Some beneficiaries who were allocated houses could not move into the houses because their houses were hijacked by illegal occupants. They are going to court. Those litigations are also being processed. There are organizations claiming money from the provincial government on behalf of the beneficiaries that have disappeared. They are nowhere to be found through the people's housing process, which were given the responsibility to conduct such projects. The City of Cape Town and the provincial government should ensure adherence, that's what we are recommending, to the prioritization of elderly, disabled, and child-headed household in the project. Original beneficiaries must still benefit and not replaced by new entrants. There should be a phased approach for the allocation of houses with priority given to the elderly and those vulnerable groups. Legal action should be instituted against the organizations that took money claimed from the provincial government on behalf of the beneficiaries. These steps should include the companies contracted that did not conclude the work or had a short work. The City of Cape Town and provincial government should ensure the efficient project implementation and management adhering to project timelines, project budgets, and project scope. Because the concern here was based that when you reduce from 35 to 15, how long is going to take for those beneficiaries to get the service which were committed to them. The provincial and local government need to collaborate on beneficiary list management in the housing projects. Timelines must be set for conclusion of these projects. Then the next project was Taiwan housing project. Taiwan is one of the oldest settlements in the City of Cape Town, which has existed since 1980s with no provision of houses. The ward councillor is working well in the community. The committee commended him about his availability, although he's trying his own best, but he doesn't get any joy from the city as a response to resolve problems that are facing the community. And they're submitting various complaints in relation to human settlement, water and sanitation to the city and provincial government, yielding no result. Instead, Project Steering Committee makes empty promises to the community as there is no development. So they are fearing for their lives that they may be threatened because they've been committing that the project is coming, but nothing have materialized. The community use portable toilets known as porta, which are unhygienic. These toilets reflect residents' names which invade their privacy and infringe on their human dignity. Because sanitation is about people's dignity. The full toilets are taken to a cleaning station 4 times a week, leaving the community without ablution facilities in between. Since the introduction of the portable toilets, porta, in 2013, the Ward Council has been calling for their abolishment with no assistance from the municipality. I remember the then former Minister of Human Settlement, Minister Sisulu, also was seemed to be against the same. There was an allocation of 28 million which was spent by the provincial government on the designs and planning on the feasibility study for this project, but the city decided that they are not accepting those plans. They want to start afresh. Then the committee is concerned that how long it's going to take, because it has already taken years without having houses or shelter in their place. But now if you are going to restart the process, and this can be viewed as a fruitless expenditure, 28 million already spent, but it's not going to be utilized to process for the implementation of the project. Between 2018 2024, the provincial government was the custodian of the project and handed it over to the city of Cape Town in 2024. The initial plan of the project in 2018 was going to prioritize more than 100 elderly people who are remaining without housing as we speak. Members were concerned about sewage overflow from the manhole to the Data Main Street. The additional connections are overwhelming. The water sanitation system, a collapsed manhole located in Nyandeni, Mapelo Street, that was reported long time ago, but it has not been attended to. Although the city of Cape Town has been visiting the area, the problem remains unresolved. Since the late 1980s, there has never been any proper housing beyond the informal structure. The project was owned by the provincial government, which utilized that money. The provincial government handed over this project due to this. That is a continuation of our observation. Residents of Taiwan have indicated that they experience fire incidents during the summer season and floods during the rainy season, and they are not getting any help when these things happen. An elderly or senior citizen who met with us, she indicated that it was only the community which brought together their own material to donate for her to resuscitate her structure. According to the Ward Council, a number of residents, including elderly women, had shacks demolished by recent fires, but no assistance have been given. The recommendations is that the Ward Councillor must submit a complaint registry to the Select Committee on Cooperative Government and Public Administration, Water and Sanitation and Human Settlement as evidence of the slow pace. The Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation requested the city, when we're there on site, to come and attend to that. We have not received a report whether that has been resolved. The issue of manhole. The city of Cape Town must help the community of cleaning the streets and surrounding area because the sewage strength, which poses health hazards to the residents of Taiwan. The city of Cape Town must implement the Taiwan housing project with speed. Then Ward Councillor must submit the comprehensive report Select Committee and will process it. Mandela Park housing project, Mahama. The project was initiated in 2007 with the city of Cape Town. The total number of the yield was 261. The land is too small to accommodate the number of houses stated, which are envisaged to be built in the same site. There are 2 land parcels which are going to be accommodating this project. And the concern was the sizes of these land parcels and the number of the yield that is expected in that project. But also the city here decided to put the infrastructure in place, spending about 20 million rand. They only discovered later that the land does not belong to the city, it belongs to the public works, when they already had spent such an allocation. So we are moving that the rezoning should be expedited so that the city also rezone those land parcels for housing purposes, but also the transfer of land from public works to the city must be expedited because there's been the shift of blame from one to another in terms of who is responsible, where the land belongs to, and all of that. But I think now we are aware that the land belongs to the public works. Then the Cape Town, the Cape Town Department of Public Works are not interacting and collaborating in this project, which causes more delays for its implementation. The project delay will lead to wear and tear of the underground infrastructure layout, which had already been laid. So it's important that there is no wastage. According to Ward Councillor, the City of Cape Town understanding of housing opportunities means provision of site, not a house, a service site. Recommendations, priority in the housing project should be guided, should be given by the housing, guided by the housing policy and prioritize the elderly, disabled, and child-headed families. The Western Cape Department of Public Works must determine if they are selling or donating the land to the city. The City of Cape Town and Western Cape Provincial Government of Public Works must convene over the project with immediate effect. The key priorities of the project should be on the transfer of land to the municipality. There must be a revision of size and number of units, especially on the adherence to the spatial planning framework of the city, so that you don't squeeze people in a very small piece of land. They can't even breathe. Those of us who slaughter cows. So we need a space when you have visitors, your relatives, so that when you slaughter that cow, you'll be able to fulfill everything. Chair, we have covered all this on the 20th of October 2020, a fire broke out, but I've already cited this. The beneficiaries were primarily 342 residents who will benefit in this project. So this is what we are submitting, that these things should be expedited so that our communities will live and enjoy better life for all residents of Cape Town, like all other residents who reside in a very pushy and well-serviced properties and the environment and infrastructure. Chair, this is what we submit before this committee. Of course, we'll be going to a detailed report when the reports are consolidated so that we are able to give specifics. We submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Kawunda. Honourable members, I believe that there was some last-minute panel beating to the presentation from Group 2, and the presentation is still being loaded on our system, so we're going to move immediately to Group 3. Please, Honourable Khadebe, are you representing Group 3? Amandla. Mamela, there was trouble loading the revised presentation from Group 2, and they've asked to be pushed to the end. Thank you.
How much time do I have?
You have 15 minutes.
Because we weren't getting
Oh.
time.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson of the session. Good morning, all the delegates, plus the stakeholders who were participating in the entire program. As you could see that these reports are going to be consolidated later. And what is very important about this report, just why even the first presenter here, they didn't even deal with yesterday is oversight, what they've done. They're still going to consolidate them. But what is critical here is that this report is very comprehensive. All the opinions of the people who were there are in the report. They are in the report. I think that what we have to do is to thank the administrative staff for the good job well done, because all the opinions are here in this report. Without further ado, Chairperson, the Group 3 which visited Gugulethu, actually it was not only Gugulethu, it was Gugulethu, Nyanga, Delft. And then it was one group which had to attend many sites. Actually, when we counted them, there are around 7. The 7 sites which had to be attended by this group. So there was a lot of work which was done by this group. So the sites visited on the 17th, Chairperson, Akukuletu F8448, Mau Mau F2849, Airport Precincts Infields, Tambo Square and Liolo, Tsunami Informal Settlement and Tabombegi site. At the Kukuletu site, it was a joint venture between the city and the government of the Western Cape, Department of Infrastructure, and the project faced low inspections and contractor appointment backlogs, which has extended the timelines. The city was not satisfied with the work done by the initial contractor, and in October 2023, the city decided not to renew the agreement between itself and the government of the Western Cape. And then they appointed the Melon Housing Construction. And then the key issues which came out of that visit is that they engaged, the project team engaged with the 112 illegal occupiers and total of 38 occupiers committed to vacating the units. The contractor construction in the phase 4 consisted of both new and half-built houses. A total of 24 units was still awaiting for building plans approval from the city of Cape Town. That was one of the lowest points, that the approval rate from the side of the city was very slow. Consultation and engagement with illegal occupiers and for the city to assist those occupants to find suitable alternative accommodation will be encouraged so that they can vacate the illegally occupied houses. Recommendations. The consultation and involvement of the project steering committees and all councillors in-house is very important to ensure effective consultation and contribution by the communities into projects should be encouraged. There should be use of local contractors, women, youth, and persons with disabilities and other disadvantaged communities in the procurement process to ensure comprehensive and effective representation to boost employment opportunities. Because it was discovered that there were companies which were fronting, which were not from the area, and also the foreign nationals were appointed to work on the contracts. But we know very well that the issue of house building is not a scarce skill according to the Department of Labor. So that's why it was recommended that the laws of the country must be followed to the letter. There should be successful integration between the housing initiatives with other communities and ensures that there are common parks, fencing, and sufficient street lights. The city should also assess the quality of houses built in relation to whether the beneficiaries were satisfied thereof and address any issues related to the leaks or poor workmanship. Due consideration should also be given to the needs of women, children, persons with disabilities, and the elderly in the allocation of the appropriate houses to the families. And then the next one is the Mau Mau F2049, which is in Nyanga. A joint venture between the City of Cape Town and the Western Department of Infrastructure started in 2019 as part of breaking the new ground. 179 million was allocated by the City of Cape Town to build 34 units for the Kukuletu beneficiaries to address the housing crisis. 13 units have already been handed over to the beneficiaries although one was killed 3 days after taking occupation. It shows that the more the projects delay, the more the beneficiaries are going to be affected negatively. Despite the progress, it continues to face a number of key challenges that threaten its timely completion, including extortion, vandalism, theft, and illegal occupations. Lack of participation by local communities in their own developments, including Black business communities, since the project employs mostly outsiders and even foreign nationals. Families have waited for years. Some elderly beneficiaries passed away before receiving their houses. The members were concerned about the delays in the approval of building plans by the City of Cape Town. Lack of communication within the government and structure and stakeholders was glaring. Recommendations. The house inspections and handover process needs to accelerate and prevent unnecessary delays. That the report between the breakdown of the recruitment of the members of the local community in the project vis-a-vis the plowback strategies applied by the be tabled in the NCOP, including the financial impact on local businesses. The contractors should comply with the government laws and regulations such as Public Finance Management Act and the involvement of local community, especially business community, people with disabilities, elderly people, and the youth. That a full report regarding the maintenance of the businesses, of the houses should be handed over to the NCOP. The airport precinct, it was said indeed to visit this project. Airport precinct infill housing project for the construction of duplex semi-detached houses with 106 multi-story in Kukuleti, which started in 2019. The project is part of the plan of the City of Cape Town and Western Cape Department of Infrastructure to address the housing crisis in Cape Town. The key issues which came out of that, the project remains incomplete and stalled since 2022-2023 because of criminal activities which involved extortion, intimidation, and shootings. In 2023, there were shootings of 6 people, and the security check was even banned. As a result, the contractor decided to voluntarily leave the site. The project is beset by challenges of cases of extortion and intimidation that severely affected the project. The cases also involved the shooting of the quantity surveyor and the security guard. The members noted that the project was secured as there were security personnel on site when we arrived at the plant. So what are the recommendations? We recommend that there should be consultation and involvement of the project steering committee and ward councillors in housing development initiatives. Mr. Siabulela Chali should send a report to the NCOP on the value of the project because we didn't know how much money was spent up to now, although the bulk infrastructure was laid out. What is very important, also we recommend that the South African Police Service must allocate sufficient manpower to secure these projects. The NCOP committee responsible for the social cluster must deal with the community which is housed in Yolo Community Hall, and that the Select Committee on Security must call the Provincial Commissioner so that he can come and answer about why there's no proper protection on the sites there. And then the next site which we visited was Tsunami Informal Settlement. Tsunami Informal Settlements of the airport precinct is there in Delft. It is the collaboration between Western Cape Department of Infrastructure and the City of Cape Town, aiming to upgrade the areas, including involving temporary relocation of residents and subsequent provision of permanent houses. Key issues: the residents of Tsunami Informal are living under inhuman conditions, where there's continuous sewage spillage and blockage. There's a lack of service delivery, such as waste collection and designated disposal facilities, resulting in the community dumping it in the open pit, which creates breeding ground for diseases. Tsunami has poor road infrastructure that is not paved properly, and the crime rate is high. Elderly residents fear for their own safety. Recommendation: members noted that the proper grading of roads can assist. Community-driven cleaning campaign must be initiated by the councillor consent. On the Thabo Mbeki site, this one is also troublesome because this site was established in 2017. Up to now, not even a single house has been set up. But what are the key issues which we found there? The project will provide reblocking and in-situ upgrading of Thabo Mbeki East and West informal settlements. The project was still in the planning stage since 2017, and the initial implementation of the project is targeted for 2027. There's a high levels of crime which are compounded by the lack of visible policing. There's a lack of water supply and sewage spillages on the streets, which poses public health. What is very important here is that the City of Cape Town, Western Cape Department of Infrastructure, Human Development, HDA, and the National Department of Human Services should cooperate and work together on human settlements and related matters in the DDM model. That the HDA should table a detailed report to the NCOP. The Speaker's Office of the City of Cape Town must facilitate civic education, in particular in relation to the allocations which are made in the wards, just like the 1 million rand, which is allocated to each ward so that it can help with the cleaning campaigns. We found that the ordinary people of the community, they were not aware of that. But what is very important, what we appreciated there, even the members of the community were very happy that the theme of the local government work was relevant for them. That is restoring the dignity through spatial planning, provision of human settlement, water and sanitation. We did find the challenges there, but what is critical is that we must work as the total government. That is the NCOP, the Western Cape government, the city of Cape Town. We must work as a team because we cannot leave anyone behind so that these people enjoy the rights which are enshrined in the Constitution. Section 10 of the Constitution is very clear. Every citizen in South Africa must have a right to dignity. Without further ado, I'd really like to thank the contractors who are there, who are putting their lives in danger to ensure that they provide the services for the people. Also, the officials of the various departments who were there, although they were not consistently there, but we really appreciate their work and then we continue supporting them. Ngiyalebuka, ngiyabonga.
Thank you to the House Chairperson, Honorable Khadebe. Honorable members, let's go now to Group 4. The presenter on behalf of Group 4 today will be MEC Motara. You have 15 minutes.
Thank you very much to members, and let me from the onset thank the members of the team that were part of the visits to Philippi. Our report back is in a presentation form, and members can also follow for their own benefit. But thank you very much. We list the sites that were visited. On the 2 days, we were focusing on the Nompumelelo PHP housing project and the Sheffield Road project. On the second day was Walterfried and Wedge and the Kosovo informal settlement development, two linked to each other. On the Nompumelelo PHP housing, just as a way of a background, it is referred to as the People's Housing Process Initiative, and this is aimed at empowering low-income families to build their own homes. How this takes place is that there is community decision-making, you utilize family skills, and provide government support for housing construction. The core idea is that residents are involved in and participate in their own housing solutions, differentiating from traditional top-down housing delivery methods by focusing on quality, community integration, and beneficiary agency in the housing process. It also obviously will lend itself to an element of skills development. What are some of the challenges that we found on site? There are severe project delays and incompletion. Many housing projects remain unfinished for years, with some requiring demolition, while others are still viable. Delays stem from both a combination of poor contractor performance, abandonment, substandard workmanship, and execution gaps between planning, approval, and implementation stages. There were structural and systemic issues, and this is as a result of the over-reliance on a single contractor. This caused complete project halts when that contractor failed. Additionally, limited delivery capacity and inefficiencies in the electronic town planning approval system have further slowed progress. The electronic town planning approval system is an initiative and requirement by the City of Cape Town. A big area of concern was the lack of oversight and accountability. Officials on site lacked adequate knowledge of the project's history, the budget, and the status. There were no senior departmental representatives present, and overall there has been weak political oversight, including the ward councillor's absence. This undermines accountability. Further challenges were about security and safety, as other honourable members have also alluded to. The same with these projects, there is a continued risk of theft and safety. This also endangers workers and contributes to material loss. Because there's been long delays, there is also community tensions. Conflict exists between beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries, with community leaders frustrated over the inclusion of non-beneficiaries in project structures. To this end, Chair, you were part of our group. We also witnessed this tension play itself out on site when there was an altercation between those claiming to be responsible for the project, beneficiaries, non-beneficiaries as alike. Many beneficiaries still live in shacks or temporary housing on their designated plots. And then a big challenge is also around transparency deficits. There's widespread confusion about the validity of previous approvals, funding sources, project scope, timelines, and employment figures. What are our recommendations regarding this particular project? There has to be comprehensive project reporting. We requested that officials submit a detailed written report covering the project history, the budget spent to date versus what has been allocated, the progress to date, the list of beneficiaries and outstanding work, and how the department is going to or intends completing the project. There has to be a structural assessment and plan reuse all city plans for partially completed units where possible, subject to engineering verification. We also recommend that NHBRC must conduct an integrity assessments to determine which structures can be salvaged. And then on contract management and risk mitigation, engage at least 2 contractors to work in parallel, reducing reliance on a single provider, place non-performing contractors on a government default list to prevent future appointments. Further recommendations are to improve oversight and accountability, to legitimate community representation and support for displaced families. This must be done within a framework that allows for clear guidelines on temporary housing arrangements for families affected by construction delays. Our next project was on Sheffield Road, which is a road project. The Sheffield Road development forms part of the N2 Gateway project. It's part of a broad strategy by the city to improve infrastructure and services, encompassing housing projects included. This also includes 384 units housing and the extension of the road to improve access and connectivity and upgrades for the MyCity bus system. What were some of the challenges that we found? Again, approval delays are extremely significant. They've been delayed for a period of years. This is compounded by the fact that the city often changes its planning requirements and the reluctance of departments to apply planning waiver provisions needed for the Section 137 approvals to commence top structure construction. Also, beneficiary identification delays. Here, the city took over a year to identify beneficiaries. Yes, beneficiaries have now been identified. Verification and subsidy applications are still pending to be handled by the contractor service provider. Also, community resistance to allocation policy. This added to the delay. There was an original 80-20 housing allocation policy, meaning 80% would be from the local communities, 20% from the broader city. This was faced by resistance, and then in 2024, it was finally revised to 70-30 split, 70% from the existing ward and 30% from the wider sub-council area to address local concerns. What are our recommendations on the Sheffield Road project? One is to finalize the beneficiary list and also, again, strengthening monitoring and evaluation and engagement. We will have to find a way of minimizing tension here in the community for the project once it commences to be successful. Further recommendations are just around in community engagement and subcontracting transparency. If they aren't, these lend themselves to a lot of tensions. And then a recommendation that we think will impact and affect all projects across is just policy stability from specifically the municipality and for the municipality to address their delays on the approval process. Our third project that we visited was the Waltevreden Wedge. This is on the east side of Philippi farmlands. It's situated between Waltevreden Drive and Jakes Gerville Drive. The development is also part of the Southern Corridor Integrated Human Settlements Program. It's guided by that development framework. What are our challenges here that we encompassed? Again, assessments have been outstanding for a lengthy period of time, environmental impact, geotech assessments, and this area is known to be affected by floods. The land use application is delayed. Again, it is approvals of the city and between and amongst departments in the province. Unclear housing estimates. There is no supporting data to justify the 5,000 unit target. An assessment was done as far back as 2017 and has not been updated. Again, also no project timeline. That project has not commenced. What are our recommendations for Weltevrede and Wedge? Again, avoid single developer models for greenfield projects with multiple landowners, as seen in Sheffield. Verify the bulk infrastructure capacity before adding new developments. The EIA must also specify whether the proximity to the industrial area will not pose a health risk to those that will live in the new development. Our last site was to Kosovo Informal Settlement. It's centrally located in Philippi Central Business District Node and is bounded by the Central Railway Line and the Philippi Station to the north, Parkway Drive to the west, the R300 to the south, and the Philippi Police Academy to the east. Kosovo Informal Settlement Development is also part of Phase 2 of the Southern Corridor Integrated Human Settlements Program, commonly known as the South Corridor, IHSP. What were the challenges that we encountered? The settlement urgently needs improvements in terms of basic services, all three: water, sanitation, electricity, including refuse removal. The road conditions were extremely poor. There are huge potholes on the road, areas of stagnant water. This poses environmental and health risks. The original development is still in planning phase. Subdivision and rezoning approvals are expected by 2025, but the progress has been extremely slow given that this was initiated in as far back as 2016. In 2017, again, as I said, the 2017 enumeration study was conducted. It's outdated. Significant population growth has definitely taken place. We also would imagine that there is a lot of movement in and out of the area. A new enumeration will follow a traffic impact study, which they are currently undergoing. This will assess traffic flow, road conditions, and impacts of new developments to guide improvements. What are our overall recommendations? The Human Settlements Intergovernmental Relations Platform should address and resolve challenges related to the interpretation of housing subsidy allocations. This was an area of concern overall. Also, the Department of Infrastructure and the City of Cape Town must jointly develop strategies to prevent and respond to illegal occupations which delay project progress. The traffic impact study, as well as all other studies and approvals that are required by the city, must also assist to inform interim measures to improve the road conditions and mobility in the settlement. The Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, or MISA, must be engaged to assist with unlocking funding from municipal infrastructure grants like MIG and RBIG. I think it's also important to note that there were no clear timelines provided by the department or the city for the commencement of the project. No clear budget allocations also were provided by the city or the department. So it was unclear whether this project has been budgeted for within the MTF. It's also not clear whether this project is included in the business plan of either the city or the provincial department. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Motora. As you make your way back to what I think is a very familiar chair for you, I wonder how many hours you spent sitting there. Honourable members, let's now revert to Group 2, who now is all ready and loaded to fire. The Honourable Lekhwase will be presenting on their behalf. Please reset the clock and give her full-time allocation. You can't allow me to steal. Thank you.
Very good morning to you, House Chair, and all the colleagues in the House. On behalf of Group 2, I will be presenting the report from the 2 days of the oversight by the NCOP. I must indicate that on the first day, we were allocated 2 projects which needed to be visited, but we only visited the first site, which is Kilani. The second site we could not visit on the basis that there was no one to respond to the questions by members. On Kilani Gardens, the background is that The Killarney Gardens project is a transitional residential housing facility aimed at providing short-term temporary accommodation and social support for individuals and families transitioning from Durenbach, Danun, Atlantis Railway Reserve, and an informal settlement called Soweto and Siyahlala. However, it is worth noting that it was initially designed as a sustainability housing project to relieve high density of Danun and surrounding areas. But following the COVID-19 outbreak, it was repackaged as a TRA, which is the transitional residential area. The challenges which the collective found on site is firstly, the conversion from breaking news ground to transitional residential area, which affected the funding model negatively. The BNG is funded through Human Settlements Development Grant, which is a conditional grant to provinces for the implementation of subsidy programs. The purpose of HSDG is to provide funding for the progressive realization of access to adequate housing through the creation of sustainable and integrated human settlement. The conversion to TRAs meant that the Western Cape province lost access to this grant as the project scope and design has changed. The funding for TRAs is through the Emergency Housing Grant, which is managed by the National Department of Human Settlement and disbursed to municipalities through an application. The lack of clear funding source has stalled the project as all engineering and civil services are installed, with exception of electrical engineering services. The funding for the top structure is not readily available as the Western Cape Department of Infrastructure does not have the funds yet. The second challenge identified is that the lack of the implementation of the district development model or three-sphere planning approach to accelerate implementation of human settlement projects. This project has stalled because the lack of joint planning and implementation by the National Provincial Department and City of Cape Town. It indicated that the project is in the process to transfer to the City of Cape Town for implementation of the top structures, which will be funded by EHG. However, the City of Cape Town was not available to corroborate this undertaking. In fact, the councillor from the City of Cape Town was not even aware of this arrangement, and according to him, the development is for 483 houses, which is contrary to the 1,500 units of flats provided for and by the WCDI. This is an indication that there was no cooperation between the province and the city. And the land ownership is also in question, as the WCDI does not own the land, which is reported to be owned by the Housing Development Agency. Nonetheless, the WCDI reported that HDA owns the land and on behalf and would transfer the land to the city together with the project. The HDA was not part of this presentation and was not available to confirm this arrangement. The other challenge was lack of tangible progress, as the project has technically stalled since 2023. The WCDI does not know when the implementation would resume. This is partly due to the fact that the city has to build the top structures when the project is transferred. No one knows whether this project is in the business plan of the city for 2025-26 or 26-27 financial year. The recommendation by the collective was that the NCOP should summon the City of Cape Town, the MEC for Western Cape Department of Infrastructure, the Housing Development Agency, and the National Department of Human Settlement to brief it on the project and related matters. The briefing should focus on, among others, the funding, the project transfer, the beneficiaries, the joint implementation or implementation of the DDM. The other recommendation is that the Western Cape Department of Infrastructure, City of Cape Town, and Housing Development Agency should be requested to provide the NCOP with a funding instrument and updated expenditure report on security, which is guarding the site on a 24/7 basis. The second day, the group visited Delft, and the name of the project is AXA Symphony Way Housing Project. This is the project that is one of the largest state-subsidized housing development in Delft. in Cape Town aimed at providing formal housing for people currently living in informal settlements. The project is a partnership between the City of Cape Town Human Settlements Directorate, the Airports Company South Africa, and the National Department of Human Settlement. It is part of a broader set of development planned tied to Symphony Way's development corridor, which involves land on both sides of Symphony Way, including urban park elements, industrial and commercial development, runway expansions at Cape Town International Airport. The project is intended for residents of 3 informal or temporary settlement areas named Blikkiesdorp, Malawi Camp, and Freedom Farm. The land where Blikkiesdorp currently sits is earmarked to be incorporated into the Cape Town International Airport precinct. As part of that, Blikkiesdorp is to be decommissioned as a temporary or emergency settlement. The project was first launched in 2018 and faced major delays due to extortion by construction mafia, violence, and crime in the area, procurement delays, and contractors' withdrawals. The project was relaunched on March 2025. The project details the budget for this project is 400 million. The project site is Site A and Site B. Total housing opportunities is plus minus 3,469. Section A allocation is 1,766 units. Beneficiaries are around 8,000 people, which are expected to benefit from this project. Estimated completion, second half will be completed in 2028, pending the smooth implementation of this project. Strategic links will enable Cape Town International Airport runway realignment and future construction of second parallel runway, supporting broader economic development. The observation by the collective that the relaunch demonstrates the city's commitment to overcoming criminal threats and ensuring delivery of housing to vulnerable communities. The project follows a transparent allocation policy and relies on housing needs register, which ensures that only qualifying residents benefit. Security risks remain a major challenge, with the MMC confirming that both him and other city officials have received threats related to this project. The project symbolizes and it symbolizes and the project symbolizes, successful completion of project will not only provide housing, but also unlock major infrastructure development in Cape Town International Airport to provide work opportunities for the residents. The project has symbolic importance as a stand against organized crime linked to cities' #and extortion enough Genoeg Kwanele campaign. The risks and challenges are the criminal disruptions, the timeline delays, community coordination, safety is concerned, and further observations by the collective where the project is critical for housing delivery and urban renewal in Delft. Persistent extortion threats jeopardize progress and public safety. Community involvement at the relaunch indicates strong support for completion. The project has significant economic implications due to its link with airport expansions, and the recommendations are that they should strengthen the security measures on site, include surveillance, contractor protection, and law enforcement presence. Establish regular progress reports to relevant parliamentary committees on human settlement. Facilitate community awareness sessions to encourage reporting of extortion attempts via the PECC on the number given out. It's there on the presentation. And they should also engage National Treasury to safeguard project funding against delays and cost escalations caused by criminal disruptions. Lastly, they must ensure that the housing allocation process remains fair and transparent to prevent conflict among beneficiaries. And the collective agreed that this can only be achieved by the City of Cape Town, the Department of Human Settlements, both in the province and in national, and also the involvement of communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Lekhwasi. Honourable members, that takes us exactly on time to the next part of the discussion. We are going to open the floor for discussions. I think we'll follow the same format that I followed in my group, certainly this whole week. We'll start on the right and sweep across the room to the left. So I think we'll take each block one by one. Honourable delegates, I think it's common cause that we have a number of representatives who are special delegates. I'm afraid I don't know everyone's names and faces yet. So I think the same is true of the staff members who are taking note and capturing the inputs. So I would ask you, particularly for the non-permanent delegates, as you stand, if you can just give us an introduction with your name and where you are from, what capacity you are here in. It would help us tremendously for recording purposes, and I'll add an extra 5 seconds onto your 3 minutes to ensure that we don't steal your time from you. So, honourable members, I think by show of hands, let's deal with this first block, and then I can indicate. Sir, you look like you want to be the first one. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair. My name is Mlebo Koboshiane from the province of the Eastern Cape, chairing public participation, petitions, and education. Thank you very much to our presenters, and I think they have given a very formidable presentation, which is a true reflection of what we've all observed. But there are just areas that I just want to highlight, Honorable Chairperson. One that include the grave allocation, graves, the burial sites. In all the areas we visited, because of the unplanned population density and development, there seems to be a new crisis that is going to emerge, where there is lack of allocated plots of site for such a situation. No amenities, as it has been indicated, no open spaces. Schools and clinic and children young as age 5, 6, and 7 are just strolling in those particular shacks, and you can see there is no schooling and proper kind of facilities. My main worry, Chair, is the issue of beneficiary list, the replacement, the data that's supposed to be cleansed when these projects are forestalling, blocked for over a period of time. And I think they may distort the current realities. And that's why we have seen a number of people occupying these houses, difficult to remove them, creating another legal challenge for the city or the province of the Western Cape. The last issue is the area of title deeds. If we want to deliver these kinds of projects, to create value on site, to restore the dignity of the beneficiaries, and there is no affirmation of the title over the land they occupy, there will be a perpetual kind of people existing in those particular areas without the ownership paper, just indicate that indeed the area of compliance with local procurement and preferential policy and regulations. And I think the sense of getting exactly what goods are acquired locally, who are really benefiting and stimulating that same local economy where these projects are circulating. Counting on figures, this is above 2 billion in the stream of 5 years. But all of them are forestalled, blocked projects. They are not continuing. So the multi-budgeting system that we have in all the projects we visited may be distorted, and we are running a risk of knowing exactly, will we be in a position to deliver these kinds of projects on site? So those are the areas that I wanted, at least the issue between the province as well as the city, the service level agreement, that if the land belongs to the city, they will proceed with the construction. If the land belongs to a province, and it's the IATF and competence to do that. And I think that has to be renewed, because we were informed that it is also facing a risk of being terminated. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Next honourable member, Nodara.
Thank you, Chairperson. I don't know whether I must introduce myself too. No, thank you. Chair, thank you for the compilers of the reports. To me, I just want to put some comments on these reports that they all point to similar problems, almost in all the projects that were visited. But Chair, just want to talk to the issue of our counterparts, that is the city and the provincial government, not to be in the ground when the program was really discussed with them. I should think, Chairperson, as this House, we should take that into serious consideration and have a time when we'll be able to invite them to at least tell us why they were not there, because all these things we went all over, but we couldn't get any responses to the people who are responsible. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Honourable Member.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Greetings to all the members. Thank you for the opportunity. Honorable Chair, it shows that there are challenges in all these four groups. And also what the honorable members say concerning the issue of city, there was no one who was attending us there. Even the official that was there, she doesn't know but this land belonged to the city or this land belonged to the province. So we had a big challenge. And also, Honorable Chair, it shows that they don't have a plan for informal settlement, and also they deprive our people's rights. It's painful, that thing that we've seen there in our visits. And also, I just want to know what will be the way forward on these findings. I think we should have these reports for the record purposes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Honourable Member. As indicated, there will be a further debate, but let's move on. Are there further deliberations from this side? Right, let's move on. Honourable Nzimande, let you be next. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. And thanks also for indicating that there shall be, obviously, the debate over these matters. The most important thing that I guess this House should note and condemn is exactly what the two speakers that side have indicated. The people that are expected to account were not where to be seen. Now that gives doubt on the reliability of the data that or information that we're given. And I should point out some of that was incorrect. One of the things that we are given was to be shown a site to be said is belonging to the province, and that's where the project will commence. Only to be informed later on that no. That land belongs to private people. It's a private land. Now, that gives doubt on everything then that we are given as an information that is accurate. That's why, therefore, Chair, I believe, on the basis of the incorrect information, including the statistics which Group 2 has indicated in terms of the number of houses, it dents the legitimacy of the information. So it makes us then to wonder whether should we really say this is an accurate information which we should start planning using, or as institution of government start to believe in it, that people will work on it. I guess we shouldn't. I believe, therefore, Chair, it is proper that the recommendation that is made, that those that are in terms of our constitution are counting, must come in this House. They must give accurate information, make a clear presentation, which will make us to be able to hold them accountable. On the basis of the information given, I don't believe we will be doing our work effectively. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Nzimande. Honourable Schneeman.
No, thanks very much. Good morning, Chairperson, and thank you very much. I'm from the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. And firstly, I just want to indicate it was quite an eye-opener to have been here. Having served in the National Assembly previously for 15 years, I had observations and I had my own opinions. And I must say my opinions and my observations haven't changed from what I've seen on the ground during our visits. That's the first point that I wanted to raise. I also share the comments of others who've raised the disappointment at the lack of participation by representatives of the provincial government and local government. And I think that put us at a serious disadvantage. And hopefully that would be corrected going forward. The second point that I particularly want to raise is that in all the projects we went to in Group 1, all of them are incomplete. All of them have been incomplete for a number of years. And the reality is of those projects being incomplete is that those who were supposed to be benefiting from those projects still haven't benefited, still remain in undesirable and undignified accommodation. And one certainly hopes that as a result of this local government week here in Cape Town, that these projects would actually finally be completed and that those who deserve to be accommodated, those who were on the lists for those projects will actually see their living conditions change. My last point that I'd want to raise, and that is in the Taiwan project that we went to. A number of years ago, there was a serious outcry about the kind of sanitation that was used. It's a bottle that you must take in 4 times a week. And I must say at the time, I often wondered why there was this outcry. But having witnessed firsthand the kind of sanitation that is used in the Taiwan project, I must say, I share the sentiments of those who raised those concerns many years ago. And one sincerely hopes that we will see a better improved and a more dignified kind of sanitation being brought into the Taiwan project with speed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Schneeman. There was a hand at the back row. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. My name is Dionda Vos. I'm a councillor and I'm the representative of SALGA in the NCOP. I must appreciate the fact that we could participate fully in the processes. However, we would really like to request that in the planning process for this local government weeks, it would be good to include SALGA from the onset to see whether we can also assist at that stage to ensure that our members fully participate in the process of this local government week from the province. I think we fully agree with most of the reports and the content. That is what we also experienced when we were on the outreach to the ground. There's just a few things I want to emphasize. I think we have all noticed the beneficiary list is something which falls with our domain, and there's a lot of challenges there. But I must say it was good, the experience for all of us to go into these areas so that we can experience the daily lives of what the councillor have to go through at that level, especially when it comes to the issues of crime. We have had the privilege of being protected by SAPS through the whole of this process. Now, if we can just imagine, based on what we have heard, the challenges of crime, vandalism, extortion, how does a councillor who doesn't have such protection day in, day out, as well as the stakeholders in those areas, how more them to stay in those conditions, and they have to represent the people under those criminal conditions. We must come to the support of local government in dealing with the issue of crime, which affects all these projects, and prevent our communities from the benefits of service delivery. That is a serious area which we should not leave out. I'm glad that the SAPS will be invited by the NCOP to come and give us their side of what is it that they are doing in relation to this. The other issue, integrated planning and intergovernmental relations needs to really seriously be improved. between the three spheres of government. That's maybe our experience here in the Western Cape and in the city of Cape Town. But I can tell you now, it's not only here where this experience is, where we do not find full cooperation and full intergovernmental relations working when it comes to these areas. And the fact that we must always, there's a to and fro in the issue of land and then collective planning by all of us. It would have been good if the DDM model can be fully implemented and practicalized, because it is indeed a model which can assist us to work together as all spheres of government and fast-tracking the service delivery. That is all I wanted to add to this, because we are spending big monies.
Thank you, Councillor. As you conclude, please, yeah?
Yes, as I conclude, we have also seen that there's a lot of cost which is being invested in securing these projects. There's a lot of money going into that. And if we deal with the original point I raised, crime, we can invest that money into the infrastructure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Any other inputs from this? Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, just 2 quick points. I think what we've experienced yesterday, Chair, we can simply say that the city of Cape Town really does not have either interest of capacity into eradicating this informal settlement, one, or they do not have a plan on what to do into providing our people with proper sanitation. I'm saying this, Chair, and echoing the sentiments which were said by members, in particular when we were in Taiwan. The ablution system there, Chair, is indeed dehumanizing our people. It is the kind of ablution, Chair, which we can really say that our people do not deserve. That number. Number 2 is a matter of also land hunger, that our people do not have land. And if there could be land made available in the city, maybe they will be able to eradicate this informal settlement. But one last thing, Chair, which we need to look at, in this delay or non-completion of projects, one will then have to wonder, are they going to be an issue of accountability and a recovery of the resources which were spent vis-a-vis the work that have been done? Because it cannot only be an issue of the non-completion of projects, and then later we are not being told as to what happened to the money. And then if that money we are not being told, we must be able to know how is it going to be recovered? Because if the officials, senior officials of the municipality were there, would have been known as to why there is a delay or non-completions of project. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Mampuru. Let's move to the next block and start right in front. Thank you, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Honourable House Chair. Greetings to yourself and honourable members in the House. Honourable Chair, I'm of the same view that the city of Cape Town have got no interest of our black people, in particularly the ones that are staying in the informal settlement, because their unavailability is a grave concern. One, I wanted to touch, I was a bit touched by the presentation. In fact, thank you very much for the presentation that has been presented by honorable members. And I was a bit touched by the presentation that was presented by Honorable Kaunda on the issue of 20 million allocation, which was the funding for planning by the provincial government, but the city rejected that plan. And obviously, they had to do their own plans. It means that we have got a problem with the city of Cape Town when it comes to that, because the city of Cape Town as well, the province, there is a problem, an issue that we should have got a response from the leadership of both spheres of government as to what transpired on that 20 million that was allocated about another sphere. And also, the approval of units. When we were there at Kukuletu, we got a report that the city is taking very slow to approve the units, and obviously the project also does not materialize as it's supposed to be. And the other one is the extortion practice between the two communities, the black communities in black Africans that are residing in informal settlements versus the other extortion on the other side across the railway line where there is a colored communication. In terms of the prevention, because you find that there is a project at Kukuleti on the other side where it's been stalled as a result of the extortion. And there is also an extortion on the other project where there is another colored communities, and that extortion get attended by the city in order to make sure that the project continues and the other one on the other communities get installed for good. And that one is a cause for concern, which I think it needs to be attended to. The very last one is the site that were visited by Group 2. They indicated that they visited only one site instead of two because there was no one to give responses of questions. What will then happen going forward, Chairperson, on that project? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before you sit, Honourable Member, can you just give us your name? I'm sorry, I don't recognize you.
Thank you very much. I'm Bonginkosi Mngadi, Special Delegate from KZN. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Good. Are there any other members in the KZN, Limpopo and associated provinces blocks who'd like to input? Thank you very much. Honourable Pinar.
Thank you, Chairperson. It was an eventful week, was a busy week, I think, for all of us. And I think what also took away from this week, and it was definitely experienced by, I believe, the whole of my group, of Group 2, was the sense of importance and the role we play as the NCOP. With MPs, MPLs and councillors in our midst, with a joint oversight missions like this. And it gives us a great responsibility as we can really get to the bottom of the issues. And as a collective, we can identify where changes are needed. And it became clear in some of our engagement, some of our oversight visits, that unilateral changes, whether from national, affects our local people on the ground. And as representatives of the people, we need to ensure that we consult with each other as and when needed to ensure that the smooth running on the ground and the changes and recommendations we make, whether to grant funding or not, affect our people on the ground on a daily basis. And I hope going forward, I think we all learned a lot this week, and together, I'm sure we can do better as a collective. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Pinar. Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm Maurice Matabuche, Special Delegate from Limpopo. Chair, I wanted to share the very same sentiments with other honourable members, and I think it is important just to emphasize it because this is actually NCOP Local Government Week, and we're actually expecting the provincial government and the local government, and in this case, the city of Cape Town, to be part of our visit to these projects. And it was worrisome, especially their absence, and that's why I'm saying it's important for us to make emphasis to that point, because it was a clear indication that they actually do not take the issues of our people very seriously. But safe to say, Chair, my observation is that in all the projects that we visited, Chair, there's lack of planning. And with my understanding on how local government works, the service delivery budget implementation plan, in particular where the functions lies with the city of Cape Town. When they passes the budget and their IDP, they know how many houses are they going to build for this specific year. They can't tell us about the approvals of plans. because that should be part of the total planning. Because the reason for the stalls and the delay of this project is basically on the basis that there's lack of planning and lack of vision from the city itself. So we are saying that, and we are saying it's important even for them not to run away to account to the people. They should not run away from the people that have actually elected them, because there's a need for them to be part of these visits when we go to people. Lastly, Chair, which is also was actually very disappointing, is that even from those junior officials that they were actually sent with us to those projects, they could not actually even explain to us the project values and the expenditure of the project by the time the project actually collapsed or stalled. So we needed that information for us also to know what was actually the expenditure trend and the total value of the project. But we could not get those answers because those were actually junior officials from the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those inputs. Are there any further inputs from this block? If none, we'll move on. I do note that we have a very full gallery today, so we'd like to welcome all the visitors and guests. Unfortunately, our normal gallery is undergoing some much-needed construction, so there is limited space there. But Honourable Bagram and your visitors and all of the other ladies and gentlemen in the gallery, you are most welcome, and thank you for showing an interest in the National Council of Provinces. Let's start with Honourable Sibanda.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I don't want to be long. I'll try to be short. Number one, I wanted to thank all the presenters. They captured all what we have saw, but nevertheless, there are things which they're supposed to add as well. Number one, I will start where we ended at tsunami. The issue of service delivery, I think it's a key fundamental issue which is there, because they've raised the issue of water and they've raised the issue of toilets as well as houses as normal. And then also, Chairperson, through you, I wanted to appeal to request, because City of Cape Town was not there and the government of Cape Town was not there. There is a report which is very sensitive in terms of international norms and standard about the issue of settling people. People, it is strictly prohibited to put people in a wetland, in a sinkhole, dynamite, bank of the river, I can put etc. But in tsunami, there are people who are situated at a wetland. They are there in the wetland. It must be addressed as soon as possible. And then also, which is worrying me, every project which we visited, yes, we see some of the projects which are not finished and they're still there, and some of the first ones whereby it seems that a contract, but we never receive financial implication. How much was spent and how much is still to be spent. That is also a challenge. And then also, which is worrying me, the last project which you visited, they indicated there was a guy from, I think from from Western Cape, who reported about, so for us, that there is a challenge of land invaders, whereby when they took people in the land which is earmarked to be to put houses, people are getting in there. But my concern is that, through my little experience, in your own project at the Gateway, because Gateway is closer to town, there were plans which were made whereby if they push people, they will put a fence and then they'll put houses. Push people, why is not happening there? Because there, the other side is very far from town. While this thing is happening in the places which are closer to town, that is a contradiction. And then also, which is worrying me, the last project, before I conclude, the last project,
It seems they are working because there is an indication of toiling of the soil. But who pays it? Because they have indicated that this project is going to be completed in 2017. So who pays the functioning? Because there is a work which is being done there. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Sibande. Let's go to Honourable Du Plessis. I see there's a number of inputs. We'll work through the group.
Thank you, Honourable House Chair. It goes without saying that housing and human settlements is not just about building a house, but it is about dignity, safety, economic inclusion, and about breaking the cycle of poverty. And the National Department needs to review the systemic issues that result in the slow delivery of houses throughout this country. We all know that the challenges in housing and human settlements is not unique to one municipality, one province, or even a country. Countries like Brazil, India, Kenya, and even countries like the United States and Britain face similar challenges. With most political organizations agreeing on these challenges, honest, non-partisan debates and oversight needs to be had. In relation to this, I would like to thank Honourable MEC Mutara for stating on site this week that she faces the same challenges in Gauteng as the MEC of Housing of Human Settlements in Gauteng. The impact of these challenges are felt deeply in the constituency that I work in, Lenasia and surrounds in Johannesburg. And if the challenges are clear, then the conversation must be about solutions. In sharing best practice through investigating successful housing projects with the aim to implement this in projects that face debilitating challenges. Ultimately, this approach will give dignity to the lives of all South Africans. In the Provincial Oversight Week in Gauteng last year, we did oversight at a housing project that was delayed, however successful. The success allowed the delegation an opportunity to ask questions on how success can be achieved. In Local Government Week, we missed this opportunity. We needed to see the non-working housing projects, of course, but value would have been added if we saw one of the many successful housing projects in conjunction to those facing challenges. If the aim is transparent, fair housing allocations, speeding up land release and title deeds, breaking apart apartheid spatial planning, successful public-private partnership, infrastructure-led growth, access to basic services, anti-corruption and accountability to those who commit fraud, extortion, corruption, and maladministration, surely we should have seen a benchmark. We could have put our minds together, we could have removed politicking, and we could have found successful, tried and tested solutions as we have previously. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Du Plessis. Honourable Billy.
Thank you very much, House Chair. I've just got two points which I want to quickly raise. The first one relates to the issue of the beneficiary list, which comes across all inputs which were made by the presenters, but also came from the floor as one of the issues which are a problem. And our observations, Chairperson, you would agree with me that there seems to be some really deep tensions and instability which is caused by the absence of probably a transparent and credible housing beneficiary list in most of these instances. Now, I know that we will get an opportunity, obviously, to deliberate further on this, but I would want us, Chairperson, to add to the recommendations which have been pursued by our colleagues, that perhaps there is a need for the NCOP to direct the relevant committees to investigate and draft an enabling legislation for a national housing beneficiary register, which would be a single transparent database of all applications, allocations, and waiting list published regularly and independently verified. I think there's a great need and space for that across all metros and municipalities. And the second point I want to quickly go on to, Chairperson, is the issue of land invasions, which came into light on our second stop, Group 4 in Kosovo, I think it was, where it is also clear that there is a need for an urgent legislative intervention to deal with the illegal occupation of land, which is a crisis that is not only affecting this city of Cape Town, but across all metros. And I think as lawmakers, we've got an opportunity really to play a critical role in dealing with this. And I want to maybe add to the recommendations or suggestions which were raised by the colleagues. I think Honorable Kaunda will agree with me on this, as he did also raise it, that perhaps there's an urgent need for the NCOP to develop a new legislation to complement the PI Act, which will ensure that there is greater intervention and coordinated enforcement in as far as that is concerned. And I think when we get an opportunity, Chairperson, as the NCOP, we must really pursue that approach in ensuring that municipalities and government have got tools to be able to prevent invasions, but also be able to ensure that at the same time we uphold the constitutional rights of others in as far as illegal invasion is concerned. That's my submission, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Honourable Billy. Honourable members, I do urge you to just remember, please, there is a decorum issue that members are requested not to walk between the speaker and the chair. So if someone is speaking, if I can ask you to find an appropriate seat or a place to stand until such time as they conclude. Honourable Breert, I saw your hand. Thank you.
Thanks, House Chair. Goeiemôre almal. I am Tammy Breert. I am a permanent delegate from the Free State. Chairperson, thank you. A lot has been said today, and I concur with many of what my colleagues from the different political parties have said, but allow me to reiterate some of those that I do feel is quite necessary. And I think it was Honourable du Plessis behind me that said we've seen these issues in our provinces as well. And I think it is extremely pertinent that this not be the last local government week, and that we extend this to other provinces to ensure that we as the NCOP, who is ultimately the National Council of Provinces, see and keep provinces to account as to what is happening. I think what we saw, and I would like to tell this story, those of you who know me know I love telling stories. We were driving and my honourable colleague, Honourable Mampuru, there in his red overall, and I were driving in the car, and we were seeing somebody stealing electricity. Somebody who had jumped up on a wall, was trying to connect. There were flashes, and we had a discussion about that. And the basic need for basic services, water, sewage, electricity in many of our townships and our areas are lacking, and that this person stealing, and we had a debate about that. I see him laughing, and what he actually said was, and I think it is so important to reiterate, is this is the last resort of our citizens to show their frustration with government, is because they do not have access to these basic services. And I think I differ a bit. I think stealing is stealing, but that is a way of seeing it, and it is important to recognize that frustration we are experiencing in our communities. Chairperson, I think that it would have been good to see good projects as well as bad projects, and we need to benchmark, and I want to propose in future that we do see the good and the bad. What do they say? The good, the bad, and the ugly in all our provinces, to set a tone and to see and not always be demotivated, because I don't know about you, I came back quite demotivated. Chairperson, what I do think is a problem, and we've seen it throughout the bank in our select committees as well, is a sort of silo working between your spheres of government, and I think that's something that needs to be worked on. And then, of course, I think we can, in the debate, handle the rest. But asset management, I think, was a pertinent issue, specifically speaking to the Mahama project we saw in Group 1, which was an issue between who owns what. I think Minister McPherson has alluded in our committee to that. And Chairperson, lastly, I am running out of time.
You are out of time, Honourable Brett.
Let me just say this. I also feel that cheap politicking during these days was quite worrisome to me, and I think that, to say it in Afrikaans, het afbreek gedoen aan ons werk. Thank you.
Baie dankie, agbare Brett. Let's move on to Honourable van der Berg.
Thank you, Chair. Yes. During this visit, I saw a very dynamic car seat economy. Toyota Quantums and even more of these seven-seaters moving around. I saw food stalls, panel beating, car washing, spaza shops and hairdressers, taking care of the very densely populated community. That's true. Coming from a very sparsely populated economic area in the Northern Cape, this hope and activity that I saw has left our people in the smaller towns and rural areas a long time ago. I was also disappointed that Parliament had not engaged more timeously with the local and provincial government, and the research was lacking, not enabling us to make facts-based oversight decisions. Some projects were completed, but many were not. I could, however, not see a clear distinction between duties of city and province, and I'm convinced that projects will flow faster as soon as this momentum is picked up. That being said, I also came to the impression that there will never be enough projects to solve the constant influx of new migrants. The moment space is created, someone else will just take it up again. The only solution is positive economic policies, free enterprise, and then employment will take us all forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Mokai.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. My name is Ofin Jeremiah Mokai, permanent delegate from the Northern Cape. Chair, mine is going to be just brief. Firstly, in the report, they refer to the transitional residential areas. I think it might miss semantics, you will correct me there. But the research that I've done, the TRAs refer to the temporary relocation areas. Now, these are emergency sites where households from informal settlements are moved to allow for formal development. And it was the case with the Kilani Projects Garden, because the Noon is densely populated. And from the presenter from the Western Cape government said that they can't develop the area because of how the shacks are closed. So the idea was to have the TRAs on the other side, the Dorenbach, they move there whilst they do the formal development. So just to the drafters of the report, the presentation, maybe I might be wrong, but just to fix that one. Chairperson, my observations are three, and I think I want to start with the first one. I think the most important thing that I observed was to strengthen the collaborative efforts between the province, the city, as well as national. No one can do it on their own. And I think from this oversight week, that is what we must strengthen, to say that there must be collaborative efforts between the three spheres of government. And then joint initiatives and partnerships, especially with business and community organizations. We saw that particularly on the second day, you know, the steering committee, the community projects, the community organizations, people have different understanding and different views. And I think for us, it's important to strengthen those partnerships with those communities. And the third one, Chair, is very important. We saw that the criminality, and I think all of our colleagues, they spoke about it, the issue of extortion and criminality stalling projects. And I think we need to bring SAPS on board. And in this very same house, the NCOP, we've got a committee on security and justice. We need to get SAPS to provide accountability in terms of how they are combating criminality on housing projects. And the first day, we might have challenges in terms of having representatives from the city, but I think we were comfortable on the second day, where we had the MMC for human settlements, who's very knowledgeable, articulate, and was able to provide those answers to us when we had the AXA project on Wednesday. So I think, Chairperson, there will be my inputs that we must strengthen and focus on those areas moving forward. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Makai. Honourable Sowisa is very keen to talk.
I'm always keen to talk, Chair, because you have to hold people accountable. Chairperson, that's house, no. This house needs, there's the white elephant in the room that we are not prepared to address. This week was local government week. The province of the Western Cape turned it into a provincial week. There's the first one. It's not a laughing matter, Honorable Badenhorst. That's the first matter that we need to arise. Number two, Chairperson, the issue of we are coming for oversight using money of Parliament, and there is not a single official, either from the so-called provincial week that came through the back door, or any official from the city of Cape Town. It should have been cancelled on the first day, because it's a wasteful expenditure that we went to, whereby we were sent to sites that were empty. We were told that the sites belong to the city of Cape Town, only to find out that it's privately owned land and those people don't even know anything about the project. There's not even a board that says that there's a project that's going to take place. The Western Cape has set a precinct which is going to spread like wildfire throughout South Africa, that members of Parliament can come for oversight, and officials, it's not a need for them to be there to answer questions. I'm asking myself, Chair, because when you started, you said there are MMCs that are going to answer some of the concerns that are being raised here. Where were they for the past 2 days? They are just too good to come and sit in air-conned places, but they cannot go and take a walk about in the sewage that we've experienced in Philippi. What are they coming to answer? What they never seen? What they are going to sugarcoat when we are here? Because we are going to tell them the truth, and they are going to deny, and they are going to come up with some plan that this is what we are going to do. Whereas we are experiencing whatever that we've experienced over the 2 days in Philippi. So the continuous changes of laws are delaying the finalization of projects. And that's what we found out at the Sheffield Road project. Every time there's something new that is requested by the city of Cape Town, which is going to delay. Even whatever that we were told by the Housing Development Agency that they are going to start the project in the coming 2 weeks, is not going to happen, because you need cows and sheep and goat to go there so that they can clean out the green grass that is there and the flowers from the Namakwa flowers there. So, Chair, we need to hold the Western Cape and the city of Cape Town accountable for the wasteful expenditure that has been experienced for this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Kaunda.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Let me concur with House Chair Makulukulu for commending the team for the well-organized activity over this week. I think they're well organized, and we commend them, led by Advocate Pindela. But Chair, we were not shocked when the provincial government and the seat decided not to show up. Why we were not shocked, even when they are called here, they normally appear through the virtual platforms, but they are residing here. Then there are provinces here who have incurred expenditure to send delegates to come and join this local government week. But the government of Western Cape, which seems to be semi or 100% independent in the Republic of South Africa, they then decided not to show up. So that on its own, if these colleagues are not going to change, it will make our work difficult. But we are going to forcefully make sure that we make them accountable, because they can't run away from accounting on what is happening in this country, not in the Western Cape only, in this country, because we are one republic. We have a unitary state. We are not a fragmented state. So, Chair, I'll appeal that maybe you also elevate this matter to the champions. I'll assume that in the national executive, there are champions who are deployed to each and every province, so that we bring on board those champions to come and work with us in making sure that these reports that we have received are going to be processed successfully. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Kaunda. Honourable Finish.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. Mine is just in terms of the issue of the beneficiaries in some of the sites that were allocated houses, and other illegal invaders hijacked these houses. This means that these people is in this housing system. They were allocated houses, and this means they can't apply or being on a waiting list ever again because they have received, according to the system, they have received houses. So we must really take that thing first and sort it out. And the other one I want to focus on is the sizes of this stands. Because what we have seen in Taiwan is onze mense is op mekaar gedruk. And these sites that is allocated, Honorable Chair, it's very, very small for the amount of houses that is allocated on that stands. So it will mean ons sal ook weer op mekaar, die mense op mekaar indruk. And then the other one is the monitoring of this implementation of the recommendations that this House will adopt. We as the NCOP must make sure that it must be maybe monthly or quarterly monitoring reports from the different role players. Thank you very much, House Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Finish. Honourable members, I think most people in the block are Honourable Mabilo.
Thanks, Chair. I've long raised my hand. Thank you, Chair. Briefly, I want to acknowledge and appreciate the different report backs given by the different teams. It captures the essence of the theme in itself. I think what has been common in all the groups was outcry that the city was not represented and the provincial government was not represented throughout the mission itself. But I would not want us to give it a spin. Let's call a spade what a spade is. As a member of the NCOP, I feel that we were snapped, first and foremost. Secondly, I feel we were undermined. Thirdly, I feel we were disrespected. That is it in a nutshell. Thirdly, I think this local inspector in itself has assisted us to be exposed to the living conditions in 2025 of our own people, not in terms of a desktop study or a research there. The conditions that we have seen in all the areas, especially as a former educator, I just imagine how the kids in tsunami are doing their homework or aftercare. So I think, Chair, it would require an immediate response to the current conditions, at least so that the children are given proper attention. Secondly, the sense of urgency that is not there is palpable, including the bottlenecks and the question of red tape as indicated by the different teams. The situation in all the areas that we have visited is quite dire. It cannot be left unattended. I could see some of our members could not stand for the stench there where we were. For a few minutes that we were, we could see some of the members just closing their noses because the smell was unbearable. And that points to Section 24 of the Constitution, the right to a clean air, and that is being compromised. So these are the urgent issues that I would want us to see that being attended to, and I'm covered largely by our colleagues, etc., in all the areas. I want to make one key recommendation, Chair, before I sit. The question that we should respond to is where to from here, given the situation. Others are short-term, medium, long-term. But I think the short-term issues must be attended as a matter of urgency, so that there must be a difference between the visit by the NCOP members over Local Government Week and not visiting. The people must feel the impact and the difference.
Thank you, Honorable Mabilo.
My recommendation, Chair, before I said, is one, it pertains to the Kosovo Road. I'm strongly recommending, Chair, because it breeds crime.
If you
and
can
also
recommend quickly,
aspect,
please, Honorable Mabilo. Your time is expired, so recommend quickly.
Chair?
Recommend quickly, make your recommendation, and then your time is up.
Okay, Chair. No, I was saying one recommendation is around the Kosovo Road, that the following key stakeholders must meet as a matter of urgency. The presiding officers, together with the Select Committee on Infrastructure, the MEC of COCTA, MMC of Infrastructure, MISA, to set aside a day to look into the restoration of the Kosovo Road, because it does have unintended consequences. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mabilo. Right, let's start at the back, Honorable Member. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Mutusi Montwedi from the Northwest Province. Chair, from the brief document that we got from the City of Cape Town, it did indicate that the city's housing development department is responsible as a developer to initiate, plan, and design and implement the project. I'm referring to the Google Letu outfields. So when we got there, it was not the City of Cape Town development department. It was a consultant that was responsible. The guys in the city didn't know anything about the project. So the challenges of internal capacity in municipalities cuts across all municipalities. With the City of Cape Town, no exclusion in that regard. The other issue, Chair, that I want to raise is that there's a National Treasury regulations on SMME that any projects to a value of 30 million and above, 30% should be set aside for locals to benefit. We see in the project that we visited, only 2% is set aside for locals to benefit. And that creates a serious crisis where when local SMMEs then want to fight for their own right, they are then incorrectly labeled as extortionist. So in that project, I specifically asked the question on any incident of extortionist that they can tell us about. They did not even give us any example of extortionist. So it is the frustration that our SMME are subjected to by the city. Instead of giving them 30% in terms of subcontracting opportunities, they then get to give them the 2%. Now, the other last thing, Chair, that I want to make and also add as a possible recommendation is that we need to have a clear cost-benefit analysis, because when we go to the airport precinct project, there are issues of clear extortionist in that project. Now, the city then chooses to allocate security to contractors that they want to protect and does not give security to other contractors so that they get to secure that the projects run successfully. So we need to look into the cost-benefit analysis to see, because you're in the GNU here, why are you not deploying SANDF to go, if the cost will be less, to go and protect in such sites so that they must protect that our communities should be able to get those services that they deserve to be delivered to them. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, and well done on the timing. Honourable members, I've been alerted to the fact that Honourable Xeza online also wanted to give his inputs. Honourable Xeza.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Mine is very brief. You know, Chair, what we find there is quite deplorable, to say the least. I disagree with Honorable Mukai when he says that the official that was at Danone was articulate and well spoken on the issues. Our observation is that she needed help. She needed someone to send her an SMS or a WhatsApp on the issues, because she couldn't answer any of the issues that we were discussing there. And further, we were assisted by the availability of the councillor to raise the issues pertaining to the needs of the people in that community. So we knew from that councillor that, for instance, 5 families are sharing one toilet. There is one tap in one community. And that does not speak, Chair, to the UN Habitat Principles on Sustainable Human Settlements, which insists that cities must ensure inclusive dignity and environmental safety and equitable access to housing, water and services. Yet the oversight visits of the committee there reveals a total different scenario to what the prescripts of the Constitution demands or provides. It's a paradox of 2 cities, one in which those who are privileged, the privileged areas actually get the reaction, a quick reaction from the city, and on the other hand, they spend a month just to report potholes and sewage blockages in the city. The Auditor General has issues on that, and it creates a paradox of a governance in which they boast of clean audits while presiding over dirty governance in the city. Their propaganda efficiently collapses Danone, where 5 families share one toilet, once again, Chair. And then where this 500 million that was said to have been geared for this is without clear plans, timeframes, or inclusion of persons with disabilities in terms of that stability. They did not have a data, for instance, Chairperson, in Delft to tell us out of those people who are going to be removed from 3 informal settlements, how many have disabilities there, and what are the principles of sustainable human settlements say about those? And then we couldn't get that. You know, Chair, what Section 10 is recommending, and Section 27, and Section 152 and 153 in terms of the objects of local government. And possibly we should descend and invite them into the committee with the chairperson of the committee and hold them, and they must give proper account of details so that we don't get what we were getting of what Honorable Siwisa was saying, a local government week that became a provincial week. So therefore, Chair, those are my issues. Thank you very much.
Showing results, and we must confront good corruption and mismanagement wherever it appears. If we do this, we will not only build houses, we will build dignity, stability, and lasting hope for all our people. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Swart. Honorable members, as we've stated earlier, there is a debate that's still to be had. So if you disagree with some of the inputs and you want to engage, you will certainly have your opportunity. I do implore you, however, to give opportunity to members to put their opinions forward. And also, I think it's important that we note that there were different site visits and perceptions could have been different. Let's go to the Honorable Godsell, please.
Thank you, Chair. The past week's oversight visits to Gugulethu, Delft, Nyanga, and Philippi laid bare the brutal reality facing residents on the Cape Flats. Service delivery is being actively undermined by the national SAPs, while gangsters and extortionists operate unchecked, even with the help of this House. On Wednesday, we were told how contractors withdraw from projects because they and the people they employ are extorted and shot at. Yesterday, we stood beside a refuse-filled ditch in the Tsunami informal settlement where dead dogs lay uncollected. And this was not because the city refuses to collect it. It was because, in the councillor's own words, extortionists have made it too dangerous for workers to enter. In Delft and Philippi East, police precincts with the third and fourth highest murder rate in the Western Cape, the community came to tell us how their lives are affected by crime, to such an extent that they cannot sleep at night. These communities suffer because police stations lack vehicles, officers, and basic resources, despite these issues having been raised months ago through my own oversight. Here is the oversight. Last week on Wednesday, 2 Delft constables were arrested on charges of corruption. They were back at work in the suffering community by Friday. The anti-gang unit is severely under-resourced, and astonishingly, it has no mandate to investigate extortion, nor does any other SAPS unit. Yet, extortion continues to shut down housing projects, delay sanitation services, and rob residents of their dignity. Even more concerning, Chair, is that extortion does not feature among the 17 priority crimes tracked by SAPS in the Western Cape. Why not, when it is one of the greatest threats to service delivery? This is why we requested the appearance of the Western Cape Police Commissioner to come and explain to this House why stations are collapsing, while he spends his time reinstating corrupt cops. We don't need the army. We need SAPS to SAPS. Yesterday, we were told that crime is not important enough to be addressed during Local Government Week. This is a shocking dereliction of duty, especially by the dubiously chosen stakeholders. Service delivery and dignity in our communities are intrinsically linked to safety. Local government cannot succeed while SAPS senior management fails and national government stalls on devolving investigative and other policing powers to the city. It's outrageous that instead of confronting extortion, the organizers of this week's Local Government Week invited inter alia an alleged extortionist to come and tell us what is wrong. So Honourable Khadebe is correct. We must work together. We welcome the recommendation that Lieutenant General Patekile urgently appear before the Select Committee on Security and Justice to explain his failure of implementing the extraordinary measures that were promised in this House. And we further recommend to this House that there be an urgent debate. Now, just let me finish. To urgently debate does it not matter to you, Honourable Nonkunyana?
Thank you, Honourable Gotzel.
Into this House that we urgently debate the rise of extortion and violent crime in the Western Cape and the
Honourable
ways.
Gotzel, your time.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. Honourable Buffonist.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Honourable members, and thank you for the reports. I think most of what I wanted to say today was said by President Ramaphosa on Monday. But let me, sorry, all that applause is eating into my time here.
Order, honourable members, please. Let's protect the members' time. Thank you.
Let me assist Honourable Kahunda quickly, because I take your point about the fact that the Western Cape legislature members were not on the oversight week. But take this to heart. The Gauteng legislature has got 73 members. The KZN legislature
members, order, please. This is not acceptable behaviour. Honourable members. Can we please, you were protected when you spoke. Honourable Mananiso.
I didn't interrupt any of you.
Honourable Mananiso, please, thank you. Let's proceed.
The KZN legislature has got 73 members. Sorry, 80. The Gauteng legislature member has got 73 members. The Western Cape has got 43 members. 43 members. We have more committees than the KZN legislature, because you cluster like the NCOP and KZN. Go and look at it. So if you take a member out of the House there, they don't have quorums for their meetings. And that's why they can't attend these things. The numbers don't lie. Go look at it. But anyway, Honourable Chair, let me get back to it. The National Council of Provinces is meant to be the House representing the interest of all our provinces on parliamentary level. It's a forum that's supposed to link national, provincial, and local government. But instead, Local Government Week, this week hosted in Cape Town, was sadly reduced to a partisan exercise engineered by the chair of the NCOP. And why do I say that? Not only was the theme problematic, because it confuses provincial and local government issues, but that theme was chosen without the consultation of any of the whips, including the one who's...
Honourable Badenhorst, please take your seat, please. There's a point of order.
Are we not in we're not in a debate?
I get that.
Order.
Take your seat. Honourable Khadebe.
Chairperson, I'm appealing to the speaker who was on the podium that he cannot cast aspersions on the chairperson of the council, that he engineered this problem for a particular purpose. Please let us have a restraint and then have the rules of the house be respected. Thank you, Chair.
Honourable Khadebe, yes, I do think we're not in a debate today. This isn't a debate, but I do think the decorum of the House needs to be protected. Honourable Badenhorst, please take note of the comments, and if you can continue though, but...
I'm purely trying to attend to the issues at hand here, where people are saying that people are confused. And the confusion was created by this program. The entire program was handled as a closely guarded secret. This is truth. We only got briefings of what we are going to do on the mornings of the site visits. Am I right or wrong, honourable members? Provincial whips were sidelined in this whole process. The Speaker of the Western Cape Legislature was only engaged on the 28th of August with a draft concept program. And invitations to critical participants, including the Western Cape infrastructure officials, were extended on number 99, sometimes the night before the site visits the next day. Equally troubling, Chair, is that the dates were shifted unilaterally for this week. This was not supposed to be Local Government Week. This was supposed to be Provincial Week, honourable members. But those dates were shifted by the chair of the NCOP during our recess period.
As you conclude, honourable member.
Without saying anything. Chair, I haven't even started yet because I've been interrupted the whole time, so I need to be protected of time. They are doing this on purpose, like they've been obfuscating the whole week. So, the intention of this week was plain, was to make the DA-led government in the Western Cape and City of Cape Town look bad. But honourable members, here's the key.
Bad.
The grey... I'm not getting a chance to make a point.
Honourable members, you want me to restrict time, but then you must protect the speaker on the podium. Honourable Mananiso, again, this is not a debate. What is your point of order?
Thank you, Chair. My point of order is that if he wants us not to disrupt, he must not point at people so that we can listen to him. But if he's anarchic, we'll give him anarchy as well. Thank you.
Please, honourable members.
Still sitting.
Honourable Nonkonyana, honourable Mananiso, please look after your behaviour as well as you point fingers at other people's behaviour. Thank you. Honourable Nonkonyana.
Chair and honourable members, I'm just rising on a point of order that the speaker is not relevant. The item on our agenda is report back from site visits and nothing else. So please, can you direct him to be relevant? Thank you.
Honourable Badenhorst, you have about 15 seconds left, please, if you can continue. If you can continue, you have 15 seconds.
Honourable Mr. Nkonyama, I'm talking about the program of the week. Right, so please, honourable members, remember this. What you saw this week is systemic. 1 million plus migrants come to the Western Cape every year. And I'm saying this because in December, those places are quiet, they're dead. The budget must follow the people.
Thank you, Honourable Badenhorst.
We cannot be the third largest province. They don't like this because it's truth.
Honourable Badenhorst, thank you. Your time has expired.
The witch hunt.
Honourable members, Are there any further inputs from this block? Honourable members, thank you. That concludes the discussion portion. Again, I point you all to the fact that there is a debate still to follow, and we can take the matters further. There was an indication that we would like brief responses. We've agreed to have two MMCs to address us. We've given them a maximum of 5 minutes each. We have MMC Badruddin. Yes, Honourable Kaunda.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson.
Sorry, honourable members, please. I think most of you are aware I have a hearing impediment, and you need to allow me to hear the speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. We would like to do justice when we interact with our counterparts from the seat and the province. So I don't think that we'll give them enough time. They've got a lot in their pocket to respond to. So I would suggest that we don't give them that opportunity as they did not come on the first day. Then we'll call them back to the House. Thank you.
Honourable Kaunda, it was expressly requested by two of the groups that we have answers given. The honourable members or the MMCs were invited as a result of that today.
Chair, if I can refer you to the program of today, there's no such an item. So that is why I'm suggesting that let's cater them when we are ready to engage with them. They must come back. They were not there on Monday, so they must come back.
I'm faced with a dilemma. Honourable, would you like to assist me?
Thank you, Chair. Just a brief one. I think the point being made by Honourable Kaunda is quite valid. I think it would be doing justice to allow a much longer time for this engagement. But obviously, we're going to do that. All of us spoke with limited time. And I think at the beginning of your program, Chairperson, you outlined the program for the day. And there was no objection at that time as to what will transpire today. All of us got limited time. And I think it would also be equally important to allow the limited time to those who've been invited, as you did indicate the program at the beginning of the program. I think if there was any objection at that time, it would have been dealt with. But there was no objection at that time, and I think we must proceed in that way.
Thank you, Honourable Billy. Honourable members, I note a lot of hands. Let's not open a can of worms. Let's go to Honourable Modise. And if you're covered, please, if you can...
Thank you so much, Chair. The reality of the matter is that people have been invited to come and speak here. We're going to allow them to speak. Those that are going to speak are those that were on site on Monday and Tuesday. If they were not on site, they must not speak about anything. Those MMCs and MECs that were on site on Tuesday and Wednesday, they must speak here. We are ready to listen to them. Thank you very much.
Honourable Nonkonyan.
Chair and honourable members, I was one of the whips visited Khayelitsha. And as we were on our way, we were told that the strike is going on from the taxi industry. And that was caused by the provincial government in dealing with that. As a direct result, they were not there. It will be unfair, Chair, if we could actually accommodate them for 5 minutes, because outlier, we accommodate them for at least an hour. And I don't think that it will do justice at all to them to respond. And I think the report that has been tabled clearly tells everyone what is actually happening on the ground. And I would plead, therefore, Chair, that my colleagues from the Western Cape, the MECs, my leaders, just prepare for a really robust debate that must actually take place, being given enough time really to prepare and to respond. And in that fashion, as you clearly got it out earlier on, a report will be tabled and they will lead the debate and will engage in the debate and they will close the debate. I would therefore, Chair, urge, without offending them, that they must just accept that for now, for today, there's no time at all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Nonkonyana. Honorable Akwase.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, the suggestion that there should be responses from MMCs that are present today would not be fair, especially for Group 2. Remember, we had to cancel one oversight on one project on the basis that there was nobody to respond. Therefore, will not even be able to engage on the project that we were supposed to engage on. Rather, we're going to be giving answers of questions that were asked in the past, or in the first day, and it will not do justice to us. So as it's recommended by the group, I suggest that we refer all the issues to relevant committees, and relevant committees will deal with the issues and invite those that are relevant to respond in relevant committees.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Thanks, Chair. The agenda we are dealing with today, Chair, was adopted on Tuesday, and we ran with the agenda up until today. So the next item on the agenda is the closing remarks by the Chair. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Members. I think if you are covered, then let's move on. Honorable Badenhorst, please.
Chair, thank you. I slightly differ from my colleagues. Chair, for example, Group 3 has not had eyes on the report that was presented here today. It was just presented. We didn't have any time to give any input into it. And our jobs as members of parliament is to do oversight and gather information. It might be useful to give the city an opportunity to do an information session for 5 minutes just to give us more information so we can compile those reports.
Point of order, Chair.
Honorable Members, I think we've had enough comments. I'm not going to open this up for a free-for-all. Honourable Members, I do think that the point has been made. There are several points that have been made, and I believe there is value to all of the points that have been put forward. And certainly, while an agenda was adopted on Tuesday, there was an agenda suggested this morning, and that suggestion emanated explicitly from comments that came from two of the groups. One of the groups was headed by the chairperson of the NCOP, and the suggestion was to include feedback from the city. However, I do think that it is important to take note that participation over the week has not been what we expected. And so therefore, I believe it is important for us to give an opportunity for MMCs who were participating through the week to have their say. And I think that was the point raised by Honourable Modise, and I think it's been concurred to by the Chief Whip as well as, in my opinion, I think it's only fair. It's important for us to note that while there were 4 groups going around, we don't all know what happened in other groups. We don't know who all was present in other groups. And the fact has remained that there has been acknowledgement that MMCs were present at various site visits. So I am aware that we have 2 MMCs in the House today. I don't believe either of them were on site, but are there any MMCs online? I do know some of them had other commitments this morning. If there's an MMC online who was on site, if we can allow that MMC to discuss. Honourable Members, I do believe it's important, as Honourable Badenhorst has indicated, to allow the MMCs a chance to respond and the city a chance to respond. I do therefore think that we should encourage them to respond to us in writing and give inputs into the reports. And then, of course, it is a material issue that needs to be dealt with, specifically for those MMCs that were on site. Honourable Kaunda.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I think as a member of the NCOP chairperson, I'm finding a discomfort that the Western Cape will always address us through virtual platforms. And we've been raising this as a concern. They are just here in this seat. So we are all here, we spend our time, we left important things. And
Honourable Kaunda, if I can interrupt, sorry.
We are told today that this program is referred to as this thing by Honourable Badenhorst.
Mr. Kaunda, the program did say virtual. We made an offer, it wasn't taken up, so I don't believe that your point is relevant to the discussion. Honourable members, I do think it's important then that we allow the city to provide responses, and they should be provided with the various reports and then be able to respond. If I can therefore, in terms of our program, invite the Honourable Governor to take the podium on behalf of the the crafter of this week's program, the chair of the NCOP. If Honourable Governor can close the session for us.
Thank you very much, House Chair Ryder. The Chief Whip of the NCOP, Honorable Moimang, House Chair Adebe, members of the executive who are present, and I must pay special thanks to MEC Motara for being with us through this entire week and for accompanying us on the site visits as well as making some input here today. The members of SALGA present, members of the provincial legislatures, distinguished guests in the gallery. As we gather to close this 2025 Local Government Week, themed Restoring the Dignity of Our People Through Spatial Planning, Provision of Human Settlement, and Water and Sanitation, we reflected on our observations during the oversight to ensure that the needs of our communities find expression in our work going forth. Local government is a vital sphere of our government structure, playing a critical role in driving our developmental goals. As a tier of government closest to the people, local government is uniquely positioned to understand and address the specific needs and challenges of our communities. As we continue to prioritize local government, let us focus on building capacity, promoting good governance, and ensuring that our municipalities are equipped to meet the needs of our people. By doing so, we can accelerate our progress towards achieving our developmental goals and giving dignity to our citizens. This week, we've been enlightened by the many site visits that the four groups undertook. And one of the key takeaways is the imperative of a functional district development model. Unfortunately, the group that I was with, we could not see the DDM being effectively implemented. Without robust cooperation and intergovernmental relations, our goals as a government will remain elusive and our Agenda 2030 will not become a reality. Honourable members, last year through the ballot box, our respective political parties sent us here to represent the citizens of our country and improve their lives. It therefore calls upon us to give dignity to our people as best we can. Effective planning and collaboration amongst the three spheres of government is critical for achieving our developmental objectives. By working together, sharing resources, and aligning our efforts, we can accelerate progress, address challenges, and ensure that our policies and programs have meaningful impact on the lives of our people. Honourable members, it is imperative that we transcend the legacy of apartheid spatial planning. We need to create human settlements that not only provide shelter, but also foster nation building, social cohesion, and inclusiveness. Our spatial planning must prioritize integration, accessibility, and sustainability, and ensure that communities have access to basic services, economic opportunities, and social amenities. By doing so, we will be breaking down the barriers of the past and building a united, prosperous, and inclusive South Africa that belongs to all of us who live in it. Honourable members, non-compliance remains a significant challenge facing our municipalities, largely due to the effective monitoring and evaluation systems that are really not in place. Many municipalities struggle to adhere to regulatory policies which lead to inefficient spending of public resources and poor service delivery. To address this issue, we need to prioritize the professionalization of local government to enhance accountability, promote effective efficiency, and foster a sense of excellence. And I agree with the SALGA representative that SALGA needs to be taken on board right from the beginning whilst we plan this such projects going forward. But at the same time, I'd like to call upon SALGA to develop a comprehensive program to capacitate our municipal councils. This program should equip councillors with necessary skills, knowledge, and tools to effectively exercise their oversight role. Honourable members, it is so unfortunate that crime and the construction mafia seems to have taken over many of these sites that we visited. The construction mafia has become a significant challenge across all spheres of government, threatening the very fabric of our democracy. This phenomenon not only leads to loss of investment, but also slows down development, undermines economic empowerment, and erodes the trust in our systems. We need to strengthen our regulatory framework, enhance law enforcement, and promote transparency and accountability in the construction sector. The site that we visited at Dunoon, we heard of an official who was murdered on site. We heard of the contractors being threatened, extortionists coming onto site demanding payment, or else the contractors and the staff were chased off site. Now, with that kind of criminality pervasive in our communities, we will never have progress. And I heard some of the speakers here today talking about law enforcement needs to be more strengthened so that we try and eradicate this scourge of the construction mafia. Following this crucial week-long program, our administration will consolidate a comprehensive report on our flagship program, highlighting key findings and actionable recommendations. This report will be tabled in the order paper for debate, allowing for thorough discussion and consideration. Once adopted, the report will be shared with all relevant role players, ensuring that everyone is informed and aligned. Specific portions of the report will also be shared with designated committees, enabling targeted action and implementation. The House Chair of Committees will play a vital role in ensuring that the findings and recommendations are integrated into the oversight program of select committees. This will enable a coordinated approach to addressing the challenges and opportunities identified in our oversight work. As I conclude, as the National Council of Provinces, we recognize the vital importance of local government in our democratic system. It is at the local level that the pulse of our communities beats stronger, and where the delivery of essential services impacts directly on the lives of our people. We take our oversight role seriously, and we are committed to ensuring that local government is supported, capacitated, stabilized, and made to work more effectively. Honorable colleagues will remember that in August last year, we held the three-sphere planning because we decided as a presidium that this NCOP in the 7th administration will take on a new direction. And the three-sphere planning was something that we thought was very critical if we are going to ensure that all three spheres of government speak to each other and plan together so that governance become more effective. But unfortunately, what we saw over the last 3 days is that there wasn't proper planning between the three levels of government. So much so that local government did not know who a particular site belongs to. Provincial government is saying, we don't know who the site belongs to. Construction work has commenced on certain sites, but there is no coordination between the two spheres of government. And this is something that I think we need to pay particular attention to. Through collaborative efforts and three-sphere coordination, we will continue to strengthen local government and ensure that service delivery does take place. When local government fails, democracy itself is at risk. We cannot afford that to happen. Let us work together to build strong, responsive, and accountable governance so that it will serve the needs of our people and enhance our democratic values. I would like to take a moment to wish all members and support staff a safe journey back to their respective provinces as they engage in constituency work in the weeks to come. May you return home knowing that our collective efforts will contribute to the betterment of our great nation. To the dedicated administration in our parliament, support staff, presiding officers, and their support staff, I extend my heartfelt gratitude. Your tireless efforts, behind-the-scenes work, and unwavering commitment has been instrumental in making our flagship programs a success. I must thank our researchers, the scribes, security personnel, the restaurant staff, the transport people, and of course, Advocate Pindela and our table staff for the support that they gave to this program and that they continue to give to us. I wish you all well. Thank you very much, House Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Governor. Honourable members, that brings the Local Government Week 2025 to a close. I can see some people can't wait to get out of the house, but Honourable Governor has bought lunch for everybody, so we are most grateful for that. I do invite you to the restaurant to enjoy a lunch, and Honourable Mananiso can shout as loud as she wants in that particular chamber. Honourable delegates, I want to extend a special thanks, not only to Honourable Matara, she's been thanked already, but to all the special delegates and representatives from Salgo who've joined us for this week. It has been good to get to know some of you a little bit better, but we do appreciate your participation, not only in this week, but in all of our responsibilities as the NCOP, which of course, as we always point out, is where the three spheres come together. I thank you all, honourable members, and wish you a safe journey. That concludes the business of the day.